Four people with four unique stories on one mission to disassemble corporate brokerage one bad suit and tie at a time. We are the Rebels of Real Estate.
Woo!
We're back.
We in the house.
It's been a while, guys.
Feels like it's been...
What are we on? Podcast number 16?
Number 16.
Podcast number 16.
I thought you were going to re-record that intro.
I want to.
On 15.
Anyway, we're
going
what
to.
the frick?
We need to
Been
get it
crying
done.
about that intro since episode 1.
For sure. I don't like it.
If y'all are watching us, we rearranged our room. We got this beautiful new background here. With
Thanks, Lisa.
With our logo. It's very pretty. I
It's
think
fire.
it looks, the feng shui is much better now in here.
It's definitely fungin' and shuayin'.
It's fungin' and shuayin'.
It's feng shuiing.
Feng shuiyin'. But we do need some more decorations in here. Or a piñata so that we
We
can
could put some
beat
stuff
it.
on the
I don't know.
walls.
Did you say a pinata?
Yeah, wouldn't this be a cool room to have a piñata in?
You know what we
could
should
just
do?
take
We should
out?
get fat heads of our picture from
Oh my gosh, that would be
Bash
so funny.
on that wall.
That would be fun.
Cool,
That'd actually be cool. We
That
should get a
would be
vinyl of our picture from there. That would be cool.
That would be cool.
That's a good idea.
We'll do it up.
I like it.
It'll probably cost us $8 million.
Nah, it's cool. We'll send it to Fast Signs. Shout out to Brad at Fast Signs. For this plug, we get the free fat head.
I just put an order in. Brad, I need it ASAP.
I'm actually heading up there today, so
It won't be
need to
done
order
by
I
then.
doubt it'll be ready.
Fast Signs, the Mechanicsburg.
They're not
Fast
that
Signs.
fast.
Fast Signs, Fast Signs.
I don't think they're that fast,
Free
are they?
advertising.
They're pretty
Oh my
fast.
gosh. So let's spend some time today talking about first impressions. We're in the business of first impressions, right? But I started thinking about this because when I was in Florida, I had one of my friends had reached out to me, and I realized, I don't live there anymore. You guys live locally where you grew up, and I don't live there like I did. And I started realizing I'm a little bit more open to giving people okay, my first impression of you is when we were 16 years old, and I probably didn't like you, but now I'm a little bit more open to being like, hey, I wonder what's up in their life. Did they grow and change? So
That's a big time span, though.
it is, but is it worth it? Because it actually, people then start to question, well, why are you talking to that person now? Or why are you friends with them on Facebook? And I'm like,
I mean, I can't. I don't think I could count my first impression from someone that was 30 years ago.
but I know, but
We were,
but are you
speaking
mazed?
for myself, I was an asshole when I was 16.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't want anybody to judge me for what.
But
I was
how
like
many
then
people
either.
still do that though? Think
man.
about it. There are people, you probably know people who you went to school with that are still like, well, I remember you when you were 16
That's true.
and
Nah,
I am
people do
not,
that.
I don't even want to give you another chance.
I don't
right?
really care. Kick rocks.
I recently, I'm not gonna name the situation, but I recently had a situation where it was a guy I didn't care for a whole lot.
Yeah.
I've actually hung out with not that long ago, and I was like, he's not a bad dude. I
Yeah.
think
People change.
people change.
Yeah.
Obviously people change. Yeah.
But first impressions in general are huge, though. Because even if you're willing to give second chances, if somebody screws up the first impression, now they have to work for it. Right? It's like first impressions are huge.
So you find them valuable. You think it's important.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think that we have to keep in mind that not everyone is comfortable in certain situations. So sometimes your first impression is skewed because, they might have social anxiety. They might have issues with that. It might have been a bad day. So I'm not trying to discredit anyone because their first impression was bad, but it's important.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to be honest. If I don't like somebody right off the bat, they're going to have to work for it then. Right. Which sucks. And I try to be good about that first impressions. I think that the older I get, the less I give a shit, which is weird. Back in the days, I used to be like, oh, this is the first time meeting these people. Let me get dressed up. Got to be good. Now I'm just kind of like, this is me. Take it or leave it.
Right. What are the things though when you think of first impression? I know a lot of people are always like, it's about your appearance, right? I mean, you think that's kind of the first thing you go to, but is that really the most important thing to look at with a first impression is the appearance of somebody?
I've always prided myself in, I don't want to say being able to read people or maybe thinking that I can, but looking at somebody when you meet somebody for the first time, I feel like you can pick up on, I think I'm pretty good at picking up on that vibe right away.
Yeah.
I know Rob's also good at that, but it's not always right. I'm not always right. You know what I mean? There's been times, even with people that I'm thinking of recently, that I thought, well, this guy's an asshole, and he actually ends up being okay, so it could be, like you just said, that situation where they're uncomfortable in the situation. And I mean, I've done that. I've said stupid things that I shouldn't say in meeting somebody that, didn't need to be said or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Adam?
Well, I think first impressions are important, but I think you can also ruin that pretty quick too if, you're not that person that you're portraying. So if you're trying to put on an act and you're not
Right.
who you come off to be, I mean, that's going to show through real quick. I do like that quote, Lisa, that you picked out that you put in the book that we're making for the owners. It's kind of stuck with me, and I'll read it. Your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card. And how you leave others feeling after an experience with you becomes your trademark.
I like that.
Yeah.
And that is so true, and especially in business.
Right.
You know, I feel like business, a lot of it is relationships.
It's all relationships. Yeah, almost all of it.
Yep.
Your network is your net worth.
And that's what people remember. So
Right.
Now, that's a good point that you said I like that you said it the opposite way, because, we're looking at it as if it's a bad first impression, they can make up for it. But on the other side, if they give a good first impression, and then they could just be fake the whole time, and then you get to know them and you're like, oh, they suck.
Yep.
That's a good point.
Yeah. The authenticity is a huge thing. How do you think people perceive you first? Like the first time they meet you, what do you think they think of you?
That I'm a dick.
Or I guess what have you heard two people say? I mean, for me, I can't tell you how many times I have been told I'm scary. Like, people are scared of me. I used to coach girls in volleyball, and girls would be like, I don't want to come play for you because you scare me. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And
I think it probably
scared me
depend
too,
on, it
Lisa.
probably depends on context, though, right? Because
Well, and I've had guys say that to me too,
like,
though.
what instance are you in, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, is it a business first impression? Is it like a personal first impression?
Right.
Like, I feel like I could probably, it's probably different depending on the setting that you're in, right? And like when, like, for us, like, I don't know, the first time some people get to meet me is when they do something wrong. So then it's like, fuck, Rob's just a dick all the time. That's probably their first impression. But I know, like, in personal settings, people usually just say, you're just a real dude. So I think it just depends on what the setting would be, right? Or the context. I don't know. I think the same with Adam. I think when people, I know, like, your first impression of Adam is he's like introverted, and like he doesn't really care, and there's no, like, but you get to know Adam and he really does.
And you realize he's introverted and doesn't really care.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
I think I got that too. I think people think I'm mean or something. I don't know, just
'Cause you're
my
quiet.
resting face.
You
or
do
whatever.
kind of have a resting,
Resting bitch face.
Yeah, a little bit.
That happens to Erica too, a lot.
Yeah, and she's just kind of
She's
quiet.
just quiet,
Yeah.
and everybody thinks she's like, "What, is your wife mad?"
And she's like the sweetest person
She
in the
won't.
world.
Like, she won't. We're at the gym. One dude said to me, "He's like, is your wife? Does she not like me?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "She just doesn't make eye contact. She literally is doing her workout and doesn't want to make eye contact, or no, but she's not. She's not nasty actually.
No.
She's
Super nice.
yeah. I don't know about for me. I don't know.
Do you feel like the first impression could be discriminatory for you because you are a black man?
I don't
know. I'm just
asking.
asking.
We can go there. I think for sure.
It does play into first impressions.
That does happen a lot of times. I can tell you that on the phone with someone, and this is like interviewing for a job, I crush it on the phone, meet the dude in person, and you can feel it. I mean, I could feel it immediately. Like, this guy is not hiring me because of this.
Yeah.
And I pointed to my skin color, if you didn't know, when I said this.
It could have been your tattoos, because that used to be a thing too.
Well, that was a thing.
It was a thing for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean, still some places are like, you got to cover up your tattoos, but
Yeah, I definitely dealt with that in real estate when I first got in. I'm not going to say where I was, and we're crushing that office right now, by the way. But but when I got in there, it was like, who's this dude with sleeve tattoos thinking he's going to do something good in real estate? And that's kind of it was so judgy.
working in the finance world, same way.
Sorry, Stan, I should have put my khakis on today.
So what you just said too about the making it a race thing or a first impression because of or issue with that, I know that I feel like a lot of times you have to try to work harder to not be perceived as that. So you work harder to make sure that you're doing it the right way so that people think you're a good guy,
Right.
Or sometimes I feel like I overdo it to make people realize, okay, this guy's not a piece of crap, or whatever, the stereotype that they want to portray you in.
Yeah.
I think for the longest time, for me, it was always, I had to prove I was smart enough,
'Cause you're a
right?
woman.
Because I'm a woman. Like, well, why is
Are
she
you?
at this table? I don't know.
It's weird. Are you really?
I fake it.
Oh,
I fake my smartness.
know
But
that.
yeah, but so it's similar. It's a similar, similar and different, because there's some type of, I have to make this impression that I'm smart enough. My stomach's growling. Gosh, I'm sorry.
Oh, man.
What do you wish people did see in you the first time they met you? Deep question.
That is deep.
like, can you control that? If you're giving the right first impression, are they going to see that in you?
I just think I want people to know I'm real. That's important to me. Just because I'm not a perfect person. I have my flaws, so it's take it or leave it. I think I'm at the point in my life where I want people to see the real me. Like, this is just, I'm going to be me, whether you like it or not. And it's no disrespect. And it doesn't mean, it's not because I don't think I need to improve. It's just, I want people to know who I am. Like, and that's, so I think real for me is like, I want people to be like, all right, that dude's real. I don't like him. It's okay, but at least he's real. I'm okay with that.
You know what you get.
That would be for me.
I think for me is just, I'm a regular dude, you know, like people see kind of what we've done and where we become. And it's like, you know, we're just regular people too. And it's we're not the smartest guys in the room, but you know what we did do, we worked hard and we persevered, and with the ups and downs and challenges, you know, we just put our heads down and worked hard, you know, and if we can do it, you know, anybody can be successful in what they want to do in life.
Truth.
You know, so I hope that kind of comes off a little bit too, you know, that people see from me that I'm just regular, like, you know, you, and, you know, if you want to aspire to do something on your own, you know, you have the potential and ability to do it if you have the will, and go for it.
Right. That's like the humility. No, I was going to say that's just the humility in us too, though. Like, you don't want to.
That's a good point, humility.
Yeah, you don't want to be, we don't want to come off as those douchey, arrogant, you know. Yeah.
I was going to say what changed it for Adam is when we got him to change his wardrobe. Do you remember that, Corey?
Oh, yeah.
When we first met Adam, it was dress pants and a dress shirt every day. Every day. Tucked in.
Nothing wrong with that. But
no, nothing wrong with that. But remember that?
He was even still like that when I started.
I think everybody
for a while.
was kind of like
we all dressed up.
We dressed up a little more.
Yeah.
You and I dressed up a little more for sure.
I've been not today, but I've been kind of dressing up, not dressing up, but dressing a little nicer again. It depends on my mood and what I want to do.
I mean, again, it came too with a little bit of the brand shift and the change in the brand, the overall look, you know, so.
It came with your Central PA Dutchness that you had to go to work every day and look like you were in business.
That is your opinion, sir.
I do think.
I kind of have to second that. I have to second
the
that.
brand, with a brand. shift.
Well, actually,
The
the
PA
Pennsylvania Dutchness.
The Dutchness.
I do agree with the brand shift though too, because when you start saying do your thing, right? Like, and we kept saying we just didn't want to be like everybody else.
Yeah, and we can't be showing up like everybody else.
Right, exactly.
It's a good point, Adam.
So,
Great job.
what about you, Corey? What do you want people to see in you?
I think real is a number. I literally say that all the time. That's real is the thing. I think also that I'm not a terrible person, and I don't even know why I feel like I have to try to push that or show that to people, you know. But I think it's all issues from the past. But just that I'm a good guy, a regular guy, and the real part for me is key. I don't care what real is, as long as it's real. If it's suit and tie and that's who you are, cool. You know, if it's whatever that thing is. So.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that stand out for you when you meet somebody and they give you a good first impression?
For me, it's eye contact.
I was literally going to say the same
Yeah.
thing.
It's eye contact, and almost somebody that's good at it it's a mirroring situation. You mirror how that other person is. Like, this is all sales crap, but it's real.
Is it authentic?
You know what? For me, I think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I really think that maybe because it was ingrained in me for so many years, but I feel like it's part of who I am now. You know what I mean? It is who I am. So,
Right.
You all right?
Man, my stomach's like.
I think we can hear it. I think I can hear it.
I think to me, eye contact is 100% the number one thing, because I can say, like, outside of business situations, like in real life situations, if you want to see if somebody has something to hide, look at how they're approaching you, right? So, like, certain situations that I'm in, if a guy comes up and he puts his head down right away, that means he's afraid that I'm going to find something out about him, right? So it's like you have to look at that. If you're willing to just look me right in the eyes, then I know you're not trying to hide anything. And that's why, when you teach your kids the handshake, look them in the eyes, right? That's really, it's simple. It's basic 101, like social skills, but it's so true. Because if somebody comes up and they're hesitant to shake my hand, or they put their head down and don't look at me, the first thing I'm thinking is, what do you have to hide, dude? Like, why can't you look at me?
And
Look at
you-
me when I talk to you.
And you can tell the difference between somebody who's doing that versus somebody who's just introverted, like Erica, who would be like heads down, like, right?
Yeah.
Because she most likely is still making eye contact the first time she meets somebody. She just then gets in her shift, right?
Yeah.
I think caring about the party that you're meeting with, or being first introduced to, not it's not about me. If I'm meeting somebody else, it's putting that good impression out to that person and being genuinely interested in them and meeting them and being present in the moment too, in terms of somebody that's focused on their phone or
I was gonna say the
fiddling
same
with their
thing.
watch, or like
It
that
also
doesn't
matters
really
the
come off as a
situation.
respective time.
Sorry.
For my time. It's okay. Hey, you want the limelight? Go ahead.
No, I don't want the limelight. I don't think I think it's situational too. So
Yeah.
Right.
if it's a business situation, obviously there's a little
It's different.
there's a little I would say BS involved in that. I mean, yes, you're being real, but you want somebody to like you, right? So
You're
trying
people-pleasing.
You're people pleasing. You're trying to push whatever you're pushing or whatever you're selling. So I think in different situations you're going to have a different.
You wear
And
different
maybe I
hats,
meant
so
wear
different
different
faces,
I just
or
meant
however
in
you want to put
general,
it, yeah.
maybe not so much business, but just in general.
No, I like what you said, because I think we live in a day and age where, and I'm guilty of it sometimes, is that you just meet someone, you're in a conversation, and you go to your phone, you get a text message, and you look, and what does that say to that person? That you really don't give a shit that what they have to say, or that you really care. So that's a great point, because I know I'm guilty of that, and it probably does send a bad signal off to someone, like, oh man, I lost you at 2 minutes,
Right.
Yeah,
or
and I
whatever
think
it is.
I think on the other side of that, people just need to be aware of that, especially in business too, with meeting new clients, that people pick up on that.
They do.
Well, and some of I'd say our issue, the ADHD thing. I mean, I am all over. I try to not pick up my phone. I mean, I'm picking it up right now as we're doing this, but I try not to in a meeting. And then once I start, it's over. Like
Yeah.
I can't not pick it up anymore. But that's not a good look.
Katie, since you just went through school, what was that like for you? Did your professors ever say things like, don't pick your phone up, like pay attention, like the first impression you give? What did you hear?
Yeah, I feel like ours was always, like if we would have our phone on us, they would always yell at us and put
Yeah.
it back down. Like if you were not making eye contact with them, they would call on you.
Right.
Like it was a lot about eye contact and just the importance
Right.
of it, just to make sure you're listening and you're engaged. But
Yeah, if you guys didn't hear that, she said that they preached eye contact.
Preached it.
Preached it
Preached it.
from the pulpit.
Preached.
I mean, I used to have to do that for volleyball practice. I had a box at the door, and all the girls had to throw their phones in it, and they weren't allowed to touch them until after practice, because I was like, I don't want you going, oh, I got a water break, I'm going to check my phone. I didn't even want that. Like, you're here in the moment. So what about red flags? Other than, we did talk about, like, if you can't make contact, you put your eye down. What are some red flags, like when the way somebody comes across for you?
Dismissive. I don't have time for you, or
Right.
I'm not focused on
Mm-hmm.
communicating with you. If you engage with me, I think that one to me is a red flag.
Yeah.
I don't like when people don't ask questions.
Yeah.
So I'm big about asking, like I'm asking you. If I'm meeting you for the first time and we're talking, hey, where'd you grow up? Hey, what did you do? I want to find out about you. If somebody is I, and don't ask me a single question about me, that is a huge turnoff for me. And I try to be really good about that, because, you try to listen to what they're saying, and then you try to like, okay, they said something, or let me ask you about that, right? Because then they know you're engaged and you're listening. But when somebody is just about like rambling about what they do and who they are, and not one question comes back to me, I'm done. Like, that's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah. And that kind of goes to that dismissive point in a
Yeah.
different way, for
Yep.
sure. So, Corey, you got anything?
I got nothing. Well,
You got
You always got something, Corey.
nothing. No, I think I'll piggyback off of Rob there. I hate that term too. Piggyback.
I know I say that all the time. I'm
I
sorry.
hate it.
That's
but
my bad.
I just said it, and
It
that
is
annoyed me when I
stupid.
said it. I think that's what I wanted to say. Is I think that's also learned, like it's something that you can get better at.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes people they're not used to asking other people questions, and I know that I've learned that over the years to, kind of take. And this is something, it's another sales training thing, but take the cotton out of your ears and put it in, or take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So actually listen to what the other person's saying, and then ask good questions, about what that person's, talking about. So.
It even goes to like the whole moving ahead. And I just thought of that because I'm sitting here looking at like what, you know, what I want to go to next, but at the same time listening, right? So like if somebody's sitting there and they're having a conversation with you, but they're already thinking about what they want to say 5 minutes from now because of what you just said, and they're not like, have your notepad.
I'm guilty of that because my ADD.
I was just going to say
my brain
that.
is like,
Yep. And there's times that I'm talking to somebody that's not hitting it for me, and I'm like this, and I'm not even listening, or sometimes not even responding. Like someone said, "Are you going to answer my question?" You just literally walked away. I've done that, like mid conversation with somebody, like, you're not interesting enough, I'm gone.
Yeah.
And don't even. That's horrible. I mean, that's horrible to say. But
how did you end up working with him? You don't like dismissive people. That was completely.
Because I don't think he is. So genuinely. Like,
no, I know.
I'm really not.
But it could come across that way.
It depends on the time of day. If I'm like at the end of these podcasts today,
you're gone.
I'm gonna be that guy. So
I've never seen anything purposeful.
Yeah.
He gets distracted. But
Porpoise. Wow. It's a great porpoise.
That was my purpose. That was my purpose.
You know what I think the balance is too, and something I used to be guilty of is when you try to relate to people and they say something and then you talk about something that happened in your life and then that kind of comes off as you're trying to one up. Like, and I hate that because I used to always be pissed off because people are like, oh, you're a one upper. And I'm like, I was just trying to share something with you that you talked about, but okay, I see your point and see. So I think that's such a hard balance is trying to come off like where you want to share your experiences so they can be part of it, but at the same time not sounding like you're one-upping, like they talk, you know, and it's all that. I don't know. That's a hard balance.
I do the same thing, and I've actually had to say, hey, this is not trying to take away. I'm just excited I want to share what happened to me, you know.
Yeah.
So or the other issue with that is if somebody's sharing with you about whatever's going on, that, you know, that's cool, and you're thinking about that story, like, and you just want to get it out and you're not even listening because you want to get that information out. And that's an ADD thing too, for sure.
Yeah, well, I think it goes to that balance of listening too, like, and being able to do that. And sometimes knowing your audience, because some people would be like welcoming to the fact that, oh, you've experienced that. But then other people, you almost have to say, hey, can I share this with you too before you do it? Because so they don't do that. Right. So how about, this kind of goes to what I was saying earlier when we started about why I wanted to do this podcast, but we've known people our whole entire lives and they have shared their impression of you to others. And then you meet that person for the first time. How has that impacted your first impression with them? Because maybe they are like, oh, I've heard stories about you in a good or bad way. Right. So do you got stories there? Do you have thoughts on that? Like, does it drive you crazy?
The immediate one that pops to my mind, I'm not going to share. So, that's the.
I think my problem is, or not problem, but my thing is, I really don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's I'm so used to it. So, you know, being my background from school, I had that whole part of my life where everybody just remembered you for, right? And then I was in the nightclub and bar business, and I was like in the limelight, and people just talk shit about me all the time. Oh, he does this. Oh, he does that. And so I got so used to it. I was just like, whatever, if you want to meet me for me, let's do it. And if you just want to have this thought about who I am, that's cool too. That's on you, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. Mm-hmm. So I think it's like just learning to not care in that sense. I care about what people think about me to a degree, but I don't care enough to make people like me. Like, if you don't like me and you want to listen and you don't want to get to know me, then kick rocks. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, you know, I think when you're younger, you probably care more about what your peers think of you.
That's everything.
But
that's everything when you're young.
It is, but I think, you know, the older I get, the more, like Rob said, I really don't care, because if I'm doing what I feel is right and what's best for me, you know, my family or my business, and doing good in society, that's all that matters. And everybody else has their own issues, their own problems, and 99% of the time people don't care anyway because they got their own things going on in life. Yeah. So, and I just feel like the less we care about what everybody else thinks in life, probably the more happy people, you know, would be generally.
I feel like when you're doing what other people wish that they were doing, and I'm not doing this in like being cocky or whatever and saying this, but I just heard someone say the other day, and it kind of hit me. He was like, people that hate you are jealous of you, and that's it.
Right.
Like that's why. There's no other reason why.
Yeah.
So, and I started thinking about it, and I'm like, Well, there are people that I not care for, I don't care for it, and it's not for, but that ultimately, when people are talking trash, it's because you're doing something that they wish they could do,
Right.
or something along those lines. So, and I looked at my life, the people that I feel that way about, and I'm like, is that why? And there's a bunch of them, that's why.
That's
so
right.
you should probably just take a look at that. I needed to take a look at that too. So
Good point.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. What about time? Like, has time, now that you have gone on from your initial impression with people, has that changed for you to get your new first impression with somebody? I mean, or are people still going, I remember Corey at 16, I remember Adam at 16?
I think it can change.
Well,
I mean,
they
like
are.
we had
Yeah.
talked about earlier, I think you can have a first impression, but I think when you get to know somebody,
Yeah.
I feel like that changes, good or bad.
I think it depends on what we're talking about. Like if
Yeah.
it's like, and I'll use business for example. Like if it's somebody that looked at you, your first impression because of something you did when you were younger that maybe it wasn't legal, or it wasn't great, or you job hopped, or you weren't responsible, or you whatever. I think success is louder than anything else you could do anyway. So like if you change, what you're doing and you're successful at making those changes, right, for the better, and people see that, then that should be enough, right? Like that I think you don't have to tell people, you just have to show people, right? It's like,
and when you stop telling people, that's when it's real to me. So I always say to for my past, and I'm not going to get into it, but everybody knows, but in my past, it took me doing the work, not talking about what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And then and there would be people that would say to me, oh, you're always going to be this, or those people would eat me alive, and that would drive me absolutely crazy, until the point where they got quiet.
Yeah.
They got quiet eventually because I just kept doing what I needed to do. So,
Well, and they say one of the best pieces of advice most people give is, if you want to do something, just don't tell anybody and do it.
Amen. Yeah.
Do it. And then eventually they're going to be like, oh, wow. Okay. When did you decide to do that? It's like losing weight. I mean, the same thing. If you want to lose weight, they say sometimes the best thing to do is not say anything.
Yeah, just do it.
And
or just don't
it.
eat.
No,
That's
that's
probably the
not.
first thing. Just don't eat.
Not a
Disclaimer,
good option.
please. Nobody listen to Corey.
He's not a
Nobody stop
doctor.
eating.
Just stop eating. You'll be good.
Are there people from your past that like you had a bad first impression with, that one, you would give them a second opportunity today, or that you have had the chance to get like that second opportunity and you're glad you did? Yes, no. I think it's a mix for me. I think I have people that I tried to be nice and was like, hey, yeah, let's figure it out. And then I'm like, oh no. Nope, you're still that person.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it depends on what they did to you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't know. Somebody did you dirty, and there's no second chance for me. Like I'm good, I guess, right? Like in a weird way. I don't know.
It depends on the situation. It's situational again.
That is situational. Yeah.
I immediately go to my dad, and not being around as a kid, and the hatred and anger and all of the stuff that I had for him. I let that go. Like now that I know my family story, like knowing the history, you look at it and you're like, okay, well, it makes sense why he was who he was.
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to kind of researching that too. It depends on what your situation is.
I think everybody deserves a second chance for the most part, as long as they can prove themselves. I think it's what it's doing and not saying, right?
What have they done too
Yeah.
to change? Like there's people I've gone to high school with that were in and out of trouble, and today they run businesses. And I'm one of them, but are successful and have a family and kids, and they're a different person. So,
right.
Like people can change and improve, and again, it comes back to what have they done.
Right.
I don't think anybody should be judged for what they did in their first, say, 22,
25.
24. Yeah,
I would go up to
would be good.
25.
25 years of life. I don't think
Unless
anybody
they're a
should be
real
judged for that.
psychopath.
Yeah, I mean, unless they did some. But I mean, in general, like we were all trying to find you're trying
Figure
to
out who
find
you are.
yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
Right, for
you're gonna
sure.
do a lot of dumb stuff in that time frame.
And 25 is where believe it or not, you don't think I calmed down a lot, but 25 I calmed down a lot. Things started to get better at 25. That's when the frontal lobe is completely. What do they say? It's completely formed. I don't think it's formed yet for me at 46, but I'm getting there.
I mean,
Slowly but surely.
If you look at other prison reform in other countries, a lot of it is more geared towards like younger ages. And then when you hit a certain age, like you have to be a pretty bad criminal, right, to be in prison at that point, because there's all that stuff going on with your growth or whatever. wintertime, what would, is there specific examples when you wouldn't give somebody a second chance? Like,
That's tough.
I don't know. Not
if somebody's a
specific.
pedophile, I'd have a really hard time giving them
Yeah,
a
that's
second
one that I
chance.
don't think I can.
So I'm going to draw a
forgive.
hard line there and just say I think they should die. I don't give a shit. Like if you have the mental capacity to hurt a child, you don't deserve to be alive, in my opinion. That's just me. I draw a hard
For
line
me,
there.
I don't even care what happened to you in your life. And if something like that happened to you as a kid, you should know even more not to want to do that. Yeah, for me, that is a hard line.
That's a hard line.
Yeah, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Even criminals don't like pedophiles.
yeah.
You know?
I would
you gotta-
personally like to hunt down pedophiles as my job. I would do that 100%.
Like the Boondock Saints.
I would. I mean, I have their tattoo on the back of my.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yep. Veritas Aequitas Veritas, truth and justice. Yes, 100%. If I could hunt down pedophilia or pedophiles or human traffickers in general,
Yeah.
I would 100% dedicate a whole lot of time to that because I hate it. I think it's horrible. I think that's
Here
horrible
on
that
First
people do that.
Impressions,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seriously,
that's
it's
the
just-
truth.
That's it takes a terrible person to be able to do that to other people. You are a horrible person, and I'm going to look for you.
I will find you, and my special set of skills will.
Yeah, what was that movie? It was in a movie with Gerard Butler, I think. Or something.
Oh, what was it?
No, that was Taken.
Liam
Oh,
Neeson.
Oh,
Liam
yeah.
Neeson.
Yeah.
Neeson. I have a very special set of skills.
That's a very special set of skills.
One final thought. How has your own experiences changed your feelings on second chances?
Oh man, I mean, I did plenty of stuff that I needed second chances for. So, it's kind of like you're a hypocrite if you can't be hypocritical.
Right.
Like if I did a lot of stuff that people had to give me second chances for. Honestly, a ton of people over the years. So I guess you have to give second chances. Yeah, you have to.
I agree.
Sometimes third.
Third. Yeah.
I mean, I'm one that was given many second chances, So I definitely, even with my kids, sometimes I'll start to get, and then think back, okay, well, when you were there, this is what you did. And they're not anywhere near what I was doing, but, you have to give them a shot. Other people too.
Everybody deserves a second chance.
All right, everybody, let's sing Kumbaya.
Second chance.
Well, and I think too, some of it comes down to people need support, right? A lot of times if they don't have the support, it's hard to be able to get that second chance.
I think it's also easier to look at them and say, okay, well, this person's dealt with this, and I know their struggle was this, so this is the outcropping of that issue,
I know if everybody had like a little like cheat sheet above their head floating that said what they dealt with and why they are, like it would change, right? I mean,
First trauma, age of blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
That
How
could,
mu-
would.
how
that
would your
could create
opinion-
a whole other set of issues.
but think about think about how your whole perception would change. Like you're going down the street and somebody's being an asshole in their car and you're like, fuck that person. And you didn't realize their mom just died that morning and they're having a horrible
Right.
day, right? But it's like, we don't know what people are going through. Like if we knew what people were going through, we'd probably be like, the world would be a better place if we took a second to be like, you're an asshole, but thinking, oh, wow, they might have lost their dog this morning or
Right.
they might just found out they have cancer or something. I don't know. Like,
It's that whole like keeping your mouth shut long enough, right? And
Yeah.
going,
I've actually been
Not
working
rush
on
to
that in my
judgment.
car. Like as I'm driving and somebody ticks me off, I'm breathing.
Oh, are you the
Like,
guy
all right,
that flipped me off this morning on the way over here?
I would have flipped you off just to flip you off. Anyway.
I won't go on my road rage things. I just had a really bad one last week. So, whatever.
Were
It is
you
what
on
it
your
is.
bike?
No, not that one.
Come on, now you got to go into it. Go into the road rage.
Bike. I'm going to tell you what.
This is a first impression road rage incident.
I'm not going to say my road rage. Maybe I will. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you ride a motorcycle in this day and age,
yeah.
take as many courses as you can, pro rider courses, whatever it is. If I wasn't as skilled as I was, I'd probably be in 3 accidents a week. And I'm not even making that up.
Right.
The other morning, 8 a.m. or whatever, we left the house and we went to Maryland. From here to Harrisburg at Sam's Club, we almost got hit 3 times that I had to avoid people because people were on their phones, they're texting.
The phones are the worst, man. I see
and
that
I
all the
watch
time.
it when you're on a motorcycle, you see everything. I watch you smoke a blunt while you're driving in front of me. I'm watching you texting. I'm watching you put your makeup on. I'm watching you because I'm so like in tune with what's going on. And I'm very defensive. Even if I'm going 115 miles an hour, I'm defensive the whole time, right? I'm looking 5 steps ahead. I'm covering the brake. I'm covering the clutch. I'm waiting to move. If we go by an intersection, but it is crazy. I mean, I road rage all the time on the bike because people just don't look, and it's different. Like I'm not getting in a wreck. You're probably killing me. Pay attention. Like
I actually do it more running. I am not kidding you. The other day, I literally had some guy who, the berm of the road where I run to is very wide. So you have to be completely not paying attention if you're coming towards me with your car. Yeah. Sure enough, comes around the corner and I'm like, there's been times where I want to like punch the car or kick it just because it's that close to me.
The other thing too,
Erica's almost gotten killed.
The people that ride the bikes on the road, I feel like that is super dangerous.
Really dangerous.
Yeah.
They also act like they own the road. So
I can't get into that for that reason. It scares the crap out of me, dude.
Well, I just can't be riding on it knowing people drift. They're on their phones, texting, coming into the shoulder.
Yeah.
Who's the lady that just got killed? It was in Jonestown? I know.
Oh,
it was somebody's aunt that I know.
That was an accident, right? That she got hit.
She went out to the mailbox, and the dude wasn't paying attention, came off the road, took out the mailboxes, and killed her.
It was down by my house. Yeah,
horrible.
I was driving on the way, not in here. It was on the way in here, but not the other, on 320. It was on 322. I was on the back roads going through Anvil, whatever, and I came up over the hill. Dude was in my lane, in this big-ass truck in my lane, and he was like this. Yeah. I was off the road. It happens all the time. It happens all.
Put your damn phone down.
I'm also guilty though. There's times that I pick up my phone.
I think we need to do a better job though overall of putting the phone down while we're driving.
Sure.
You know what would solve that? Punching people in the face again.
Throat punching.
We just had a huge conversation about this in my house last night. We need to bring back punching people in the face.
Punch people in the face again.
I'm just saying I'm going to be honest with you. The world is where it is right now because there are no repercussions. You can say, do whatever you want towards someone and you feel there's no repercussions, and that's why people do it. Social media has opened up this door to just be whatever. If people started getting just punched in the face, I'm not saying like killing people, I'm not saying stomp them out, but think about this, like how many of you guys when you were younger have learned a lesson and changed what you did because you got punched in the face? I can say for me, for sure. Right? Like, and if you go up, if you're going to be less apt to bully someone, okay, because there's a lot of bullying going on, especially cyberbullying, because you're not doing it in front of someone else's face. And if there was repercussions for that, it would stop.
When bullying stopped for me,
when you started beating the bully up.
When I started beating the bullies up, and guess what? That trajectory completely changed. So
the whole world is like, we're so PC with everything that there's zero repercussions. So I'm off on a tangent. Doesn't even
That's
matter.
okay. Now
we're going to fight everybody.
Everyone can make their first impression off
Iron Valley Fight Club.
But you know what we did when we fought when I was a kid? You became best friends. Some of my best friends were the guys I fought with because you gained a respect for each other, right?
I literally, we would have parties in high school in the middle of fields and people would bring their boxing gloves and it was like, let's just get it out, man. We'd have big fires and be like,
my son does it now with his friends in my basement. They box all the time in my basement. But,
Exactly what you just said. The kid that I hated the most growing up, hated. I ended up when I punched him in the mouth and whooped his ass that day. And it was the first fight. I was like in 6th grade or something. First fight I was ever in. We became best friends.
Yeah.
I mean, after that fight, and all of his friends that I didn't like, they all wanted to be my friend then at that point.
I used to hate it. I would stick up for other people and then people would want to punch me. And
I got my ass kicked actually more than once for sticking up for people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, I'm not condoning going to punch anybody in the face, just so for our listeners. I'm not condoning.
No, if you're listening to this, go punch everybody in the face.
Please
today, take them out.
Stick up for people too.
But repercussions need to come back in general. Like repercussions need to come back.
Cool.
Whether that's a spanking or the corner or a punch in the face.
So somebody flips you off when you're driving, you're going to take them over your knee.
Yeah.
At the next light.
Get the roller out.
Okay. Well, if it works.
Maybe it could be open hand smacks instead of punching, so it's less damage. I don't know, but something needs to happen.
That's more. I would rather you punch me.
Yeah.
I'd rather you hit me.
It's
close fist.
Getting smacked. Yeah.
Don't smack me.
Well,
that's all just trying to be.
This just took a weird turn. Sorry, guys and ladies.
It's all good.
That was a 2-hour conversation last night.
I mean, sounds like a good conversation.
It was a good conversation.
We're not condoning going out and just punching people in the face, though. All right, let's end this.
Go ahead, go do it.
Ready? Are you ready for our question to
It's
end
like
this
subliminal
podcast?
messaging.
Punch people
Go
in
ahead,
the face.
Lisa.
Go ahead, let's do it.
If you could visit only one more place in the world that you have never been, where would you go for this final voyage?
Greece for me.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Greece.
I think I want Fiji.
Ooh, damn. I said Greece pretty quick, but I don't know if that's the one. I
This
think
is
I think that's the
hard
one.
for
I know,
me.
but it came to you.
I'd
I
say
think it's the
so-
one.
Outer space, does that count? Did you say in this
Sure.
world
I
or
mean,
on
it
this
just
world?
says
world?
one place would you
Yeah.
visit.
Outer
It says
space.
in the world, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. But
Yeah,
I could see
I'd
that
pick
for
that
you
one just to get a perspective of
of the outer
Everything.
space.
I'm torn on this one. I don't know. There's like top.
What comes to your
probably
mind?
top
What is the
3 for
first thing
me.
that comes to your mind?
So honestly, Thailand
Yeah,
is one that comes to my mind. I really want to go to Tokyo,
yeah.
and I really want to go to Iceland. Those are probably my top. And Greece
So
is
if
up.
we can have 3.
Yeah, that's. I'm like, how do I pick?
I mean, I
between-
can
How
give you a few
about-
more
Reason-
too.
Wait,
Yeah,
I
like,
got an
don't know. I
idea.
can't-
We
I'm
take
sorry.
our top 3 and then we all go experience them.
I'm being.
I'm
But
down.
Greece is there for me too. I
Greece is
really
high
want to
up
go
there.
to Greece so
I-
bad.
I've
Australia.
never wanted to do a cold vacation, but Iceland looks awesome.
It's
I mean, it looks
amazing.
awesome.
I know a lot of friends that go there. Now, I hear it's like ridiculously expensive up there, but I have a lot of friends that have gone and you see the
Mike
Northern
Matthews just
Lights
went.
and
Yeah,
just
they
went on a
did- they
cruise
did the
there.
cruise.
Mike
there.
and Amy just went.
Yeah.
That would
Anyway.
be cool. Anyway,
There you go. That's our adventure for today. All right.
all right.
Well, we
thank
hope
you
we
guys.
aren't leaving you with any bad first impressions today. Thanks for joining us.
Woo!
Catch you next time.
Bye.